evidently doesn't like how many people are on here, which is a good thing. Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's get this show started. I promise that we'll only take about 30 minutes of your time today. I'm sharing my screen right now. Hopefully, everybody can see what's up there as far as one of our Midwestern offices. We'll talk a little bit more about Yonder today. Greetings this afternoon. Just so everybody knows, I have showered today, which is kind of rare on most occasions. If I'm not having to guss up too much, I'll probably just roll out of bed around 7, sit down in front of the computer. Nobody knows, nobody cares. But since I'm on today, I've got all gussied up. I've put about 10 pounds of product in my hair. It is keeping it down somewhat. However, if a good wind blows through here, I could fly away with all the wings I've got growing on the side here. And truth be told, they're a lot grayer than I thought they were. Anyways, last week we talked about kind of the mental aspect of working from home. I guess it was 2 weeks ago. And we talked about, positioning yourself at home, proper equipment, video cameras, micing yourself up. And you can see I still have to have some work to do with that as well as far as getting on this webinar. But video conferencing, video meeting, definitely becoming something of a norm. I hope everybody's starting to settle in a little bit and has reached their new normal as far as working from the home office. That being said, I do miss seeing people's faces, so I actually look forward to doing video conferences, and even though it's a bunch of pretty big squares that we see up and around, it's comforting to see everybody's face, so thank you. Today, we want to talk a little bit more about a deeper dive in how the actual machinery works and how iOS may be able to help fill the void from a home office standpoint. That being said, I've got like top 3 things that we see currently from a home office need. One is the mail. What do we do with the mail that's all coming in to our office location? And but now all of our employees are at home. How do we get that mail to them? Invoice approvals. We got accounts payable still coming in, even accounts receivable. Items that are coming in. How do we get that to the people that are taking care of that in the past in the office environment? Shippers and receivers, things are being delivered to the office. If we're still taking deliveries, how do we validate those against our against our ECM or our MRP software? How do we validate that against our accounting software? So some companies, as you know, have centralized scanning. They have scanning departments already set up. So you think of some large manufacturing companies like GE or Textron, some global companies. They've got pockets of scanning in each department a lot of times. But what do you do if you're a smaller business that handled that manually, or your volumes weren't as massive as some of those companies? What do you do now? And there's 2 things that are kind of cause a problem or cause an issue with that. One is that because now everybody's far flung in your office, getting everybody together for training for new things that are out there becomes a problem. Sometimes webinars isn't going to cut it when it comes to training on software. How do we get those people together, or how do we make it simple enough to where it doesn't even cause a hiccup in your business? So there's no time for training, and obviously there might not be budget for buying high-end capture software for each individual or workflow software to get the information or documents that we have pushed out. How do we do that? So what we want to talk a little bit today is about iOS Yonder services. And this first slide, hopefully you can see it, but it's a workshop full of tools and services needed to solution that you would need. And that would be from an expediency standpoint, and most of all from a simplistic standpoint. So if we look at what those tools consist of, we have iOS cloud services and all of the subcategories that fit underneath that, with docs, SFTP, forms. We have iOS lab services. We have iOS PSG, which is our professional services group that we can use in tandem with the ones just mentioned. And of course, we have our box storage. And if you think about that, that is a core pillar. Each one of those is a core pillar of content management. The issue is that, hey, you go, Barry, that's all great. We want to do that. But we don't have any time and we don't have the money to spend to get these up and running. So what we at iOS realized was that we have all these core competencies. We have all these competencies in-house. How can we package these so that they are available to the masses and they're available quickly and affordably? So when we look at that, we can couple all of these services on the Yondr side with some of the offerings that we have for content management, capture, and processing and migration to EMR packages or MRP packages. So you look at some of those, OpenText, Upland with FileBound, Highland OnBase, SciGen for intelligent capture, Papervision for intelligent capture, all these things that we utilize within our own office, and we can incorporate into a managed service environment, if you will. To give a better depiction of what that looks like, I've got this little schema here that kind of helps describe what I'm talking about. One of the things I know, I'm looking at this thing, does anybody use a flatbed scanner anymore? I've got to get a new icon for these things, for crying out loud. Most people are using more of the automatic document fed scanning systems. But let's take a look at this from a high level. If we've got a situation maybe where we're scanning job travelers, or we've got a remote home office that we're collecting information from, or maybe we've got mail being forwarded to the home that we need to collect and send on back to the home office, back to the actual office. We've got maybe invoices coming into the main office that we need to distribute to knowledge workers who are now working at home. Whatever the case may be, and you can kind of go through here, even when it comes to online forms and being able to process those. iOS can manage the implementation and the setup of these scanners from a network standpoint, so no PCs required. And we can set them up and configure them so they become just a one-touch process. The delivery is then accomplished using iOS Drive, which then is a SFTP secure transfer to our lab services. And when we talked about our lab services earlier, it consists of artificial intelligence software. It also consists of our cloud services team, which would include actual people in-house looking at documents, validating index that artificial intelligence gathered, QCing to make sure the images are correct. And all these are being accomplished on a national or global scale from anywhere in the continent, or globally for that matter, as long as there's internet access from one of our 3 lab locations across the U.S. We can couple these services with human interaction. We can use the power of optical character recognition and artificial intelligence to glean data values from all sorts of document types. And that will include invoices, include shippers, POs, whatever the case may be, whatever your poison is, we can structure classification and templating as well as artificial intelligence to list those values. And also couple that with human intervention to assure quality. Then, last but not least, what do we do with that information? How can we help you get what we've gleaned to the applications or processes that you need to have that information populated? We look at OnBase, have an ECM, we can migrate it to there. Perhaps we're using docs from just a good distribution of images to where people can review them. We can look at Upland or Oracle Financials or Microsoft Dynamics from an accounting standpoint. All these things can be accomplished, or even multiple landing points for that matter. So from a high level, what we're looking at is capturing physical paper or electronic PDFs or spreadsheets, whatever the case may be, whatever content you have, delivering it for processing outside your organization, gleaning the indexes or data elements that you wish to have, and then repackaging and delivering both image and or data elements to the third tier application of your choice. All right? So what's that look like? And really, when Yondr comes into play here, it's all about simplicity, because you look at this and go, okay, Barry, I don't have time to learn the capture software. Not to mention, I may have new employees here in a couple of weeks, or I've got high turnover in that area and I can't see training somebody on a complex capture software and in 2 weeks having to do it again, or 6 months have to do it again. So we want to take that out of the equation. We want to make it as simple as possible for you guys in the trenches to get these things digital, and then iOS handle the rest, and we do it in mass for you at a monthly, an annual, or even a biannual cost. So let me show you. I've got a video set up here, and I want to show you what complexity looks like. So excuse me, let me set the stage for you. In this case, we have set up a remote scanner in an office, and it is scanning bill of lading of 3 specific document types. And the knowledge worker is going to, instead of filing this paperwork in a box or in a filing cabinet, they're going to put it in the scanner and hit the button on what type of document it is. And at that point, it's done. It's taken over by iOS Yondr Services and delivered appropriately. But I want to show you the complexity of this and see if it's something that perhaps your office workers could handle. I know it's tough. I know it's kind of hard to gather how you might possibly be able to teach that to somebody, but that's it. And we don't care what type of document it is. We don't care what we need to glean off of it. We just need to do what. The idea is that we can put the scanner out there pre-configured with the document types that you need collected, and we can then begin service. We can deliver those documents indexed to your third-party application at a service level that meets your needs. And we'd be more than happy to talk to you about that. Just to give you an idea what that looks like, here's an example. Inclusive flat rate, 2-year agreement, could be monthly, could be an annual, and it could include the actual hardware as well. Fees, usually based around the average amount of documents per day or per month that we're looking at indexing or extracting data for you on, and how you access the documents after capture. We're starting out $300. An invoice example would be around 500 invoices per month, and we would extract the header information for you and deliver those images along with the indexing data to a third-party application, or just to a repository of your choice. A lot of flexibility, simplicity in implementation, and simplicity in use, and that's what we're looking for. With that, I will open the forum up for questions. Are there any questions out there?
If anyone has any questions, please put them into the textual chat, and then we can answer them from there. Thank you.
This is a good one from a good friend of mine, Vince. Why do I look like I just got out of prison? Well, Vince, let me answer your question. I'm still in prison, and it's called my home office. So that's kind of why I look the way I do. Thanks for your question. Any other questions? Here's one. What size of entity would you propose use this type of service? Well, the situation is this. I'm not sure that there is a size that couldn't use this type of service. Even the larger organizations that have internal scanning haven't covered every area where they need digital transformation. So from multi-billion to $1 million a year company, the transition is difficult if you have never done anything like this before. The nice thing about Yonder is that the background is taken care of. Training is, can I push this button and can I put the paper in that I want scanned and the data extracted from in the scanner? If you can accomplish that, then you're in home free. You're just waiting for the results. Here's a question. Can you tell us about the extraction of data again? Anything can be scanned, even a weird shaped or old document. Right, so the nice thing is that because we've been doing this for 50 years, we know what type of scanners can do what. So from a standpoint of supplying the hardware to you, if you have odd-shaped documents that need scanned, we can accomplish doing that by vetting what type of scanner we use and how we're going to use it and how it may be extrapolated to help with scanning or capturing a particular type of document, such as a credit card or a tag or a small piece of receipt paper, etc. Now, that being said, let's flip it over and say at some point you may say it's too much for us to scan internally. iOS offers pickup and scanning services as well, so we can take it all the way to the year line and say we'll pick up the boxes and scan them for you, and that's not an issue. Let's see. Could you talk about the security aspect a little bit? Like from paper document to captured digital information that's routed to where it needs to go. Is there encryption or how is that data secured? Thanks. We do use a secure transfer protocol for our movement between your site and the cloud. And we also use SSAE 16 certified repositories. We have a whole litany of things that we can talk about from a security standpoint, but from an internal process in our labs, all of our employees are vetted. All of employees go through background checks, and because of our 21 CFR Part 820 adherence, as far as process goes, all of our customers or all of our workers are trained in HIPAA compliance and adherence to that rule. So from an employee standpoint, we do very good due diligence on that. From a technology standpoint, we also utilize all security with firewalls, with prohibition of cell phones and anything that record data in our conversion centers, as well as the 21 CFR Part 820 adherence. Hope that answers your question. If you need more information about that, you can get with me online and I can bury you with enough stuff to give you a reading for a couple of days in your home office. let's see, if we have multiple departments that would want to use distributive capture, do we set different profiles based on the scanner to send in 3 types of HR documents from one scanner and 3 types of accounting documents on a different scanner? Do we set all profile selections on one scanner? Good question. I think that's entirely up to what you feel is best for your internal employees and how they would best adapt to utilizing distributed capture. So from a standpoint of the hardware, we can set up as many document types on a single scanner and menu it so that they can scroll through and say, oh, I have maybe an HR application, or I have a benefits document, or I have mail that I want to send, all from one scanner. We do find that a lot of clients, because we don't want a line in front of that scanner, we may have the option of putting in 3, 4, 5 scanners throughout the office that all operate different functionality, so that there isn't a log jam. But I have that 6 foot in between each other. And here's my assistant. Where's my assistant at? So everybody wants to see Zeus the dog. I think Zeus is out. He's got his nose on the kitchen island right now. We just had biscuits and gravy this morning, and he's like, I ain't going anywhere. I'm waiting till one of those things falls off on the floor. So sorry about that. You won't see Zeusy. He'll be in some future videos, I'm sure. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I appreciate everyone's time. It is 23 after the hour. We'll do a deeper dive into one of these scenarios from a more granular standpoint in a couple of weeks. And we hope you'll join us again. And if it's Zeus that I got to bring in here to get you to come out, so be it. I'll make sure he's available. Hope you're having a good week. Stay safe, stay healthy out there in COVID land. And if you're a hairdresser and you live in the Kansas area, give me a call. I want to talk to you. Appreciate your time, everyone. Peace out.